The truth about South African men is that we are going through a lot. We are facing many challenges. Check how full the prisons are, the jail cells are in South Africa. It's mostly black African men. We are the outskirts of society. We are on the periphery. We are always feeling judged and we are facing the challenges and we need that support.
This video is not to all South Africans. This video is not to all black South Africans. This video is not to all black South African men. This video is to a specific group of black South African men.
We don't have the necessary outlets for us to actually take out our feelings, express the challenges that we have, and actually move forward with our lives. This is the reason why the jail cells and prisons in South Africa are so full. Full of who? They are full with African men.
Understanding that what I'm going to speak about isn't just a black South African men issue. It's an issue of a lot of men around the world.
They are full of us, African males. We are at the brunt. We are facing many challenges. There are many expectations that the world has of us as men that most men can't even meet. We try our darnest, we try our best, but society is not being good to us. That is why there are such outlets as societies that cater to the needs of men. I recently joined a social club. It's called the Polo Brotherhood. The reason I joined is because I know the plight that we have as African men, and I wanted to be with like minded people. I joined because I was attracted by the moves that this social club was actually making. They had formed a club with 20 men, 20 men, and the outlet was there for men to cry out. It was there for us to listen to our challenges. It was there for us to share with each other our challenges, but also try and provide practical solutions to those challenges. The plight of us African men, we need such outlets. It was also there to encourage money making principles and money saving and investing principles, which is obviously, as a social club, as Africans, we know it as a stokvel. So that's why there's a monetary element to it, where monthly there's a minimum amount of money that you are expected to save. And you're expected to save that money, and then it's withdrawn in December. And then during that period is when you, as a man, can feel that you can walk with your shoulders high, knowing that you have some lump sum that will see you throughout December, some lump sum that will benefit your kids through buying clothes for them, some lump sum where you can buy groceries in advance or actually pay school fees in advance as a result of that actual practical thing. But the social element of it, the element of building other men, listening to other men's cries, listening to other men's challenges, and putting yourself in their position. In other words, empathizing with them, because no man wants sympathy. Let's be honest. No man wants sympathy. But to empathize with me, to hear me out, and to try to help me out where you can, that's a different story. So these types of social clubs, the element itself of brotherhood, let's try and break it down. Google defines brotherhood as a type of relationship that exists between males. It can be blood or non-blood. It can be linked to kinship or not so much. But the proximity of the relationship between the individuals or the collective is the reason why they call it a brotherhood. So, as men, imagine if in every society there was this type of outlet where we multiplied this type of outlet, where people got to hear each other, hear the challenges that people face in their homes with their families, hear the amount of expectations that society has of men, hear the amount of suffering, because as men, we like suffering inside. A lot of us are anxious about what's going to be happening the following day. We like suffering inside because life is like that. A lot of the time, even when we are suffering, we keep it to ourselves. That's the problem, I guess, with us men. We haven't been inculcated into this culture of being able to speak out, being able to seek help, being able to lay out our situation flat on the table, being transparent, and just making it known to the next brother. You know, a lot of men are unemployed. That's a big challenge that a lot of men are facing. They are unemployed. And through being unemployed, they can't cater to the needs of their families. They have to be out there hustling. They have to be out there fighting against the wind, fighting against the tide. They have to actually be out there and stand up as men because that's the expectation of society for us men. As men, the plight is high, guys. We are suffering. But what are we doing about it? I encourage people to open or at least consider, even if you start off with 5 members, open that social club that focuses on the needs of men, starting with your small circle. You'll start being able to get to a point where when you are all sorted, you will then be able to promote it and spread it and then add more members to the circle and then take it even further and make community drive, community awareness campaigns, community support structures that support men in different aspects or levels or spheres of life. Some people are going through drug addictions. Check the stats. It's mostly men. It's mostly men. So ask yourself, what is it about us men that makes us want to escape? What is it about us men that makes us want to forget? Because even when you look at the alcohol stats, the alcohol consumption stats, the population there is men. Not only the consumption element, but the abuse element. So, what is it that makes us want to numb the pain? What is it that makes us want to forget? Brothers, there's a lot that we can do, and there's a lot of change that we can bring. We just need to bring our mindsets together. Start at home. When you have boy kids, boy children, start putting a culture within those kids that helps them look forward to growing up. Start putting a culture within those kids that enables them to know that the future is bright, even if they are African men, or to the point when they become African men. But show them. Let's start with the mindset element. Show them that it's a good thing to be an African male. It's a good thing to be African, but it's even better to be an African male. Because as the head of your household, you are the one that's devising the direction needed for where you are headed as a family unit, as brothers. So start with the generation that's to come, your children. Teach them as much as you can in terms of how to become a better man, how to love without instilling fear in people, how to provide through hustling. Teach them principles of hard work and discipline and commitment. If you have an entrepreneurial mind, teach them that sometimes it's worth taking such risks. Share the journey with them, hold their hands, and you'll see the next generation, they'll actually turn out better than us as African men. They'll actually turn out better than us as African men. Let's start also by learning how to manage money, learning how to manage our finances. Let's start also by carving out realistic budgets, living within our means, knowing that there's a portion for entertainment, knowing that there's a portion for fun, but there's also a portion for sustenance, survival, living, operating costs. There's a portion that has to be attributed to that. A lot of the time, really, our stresses as men, it is around finances. But you know, there are also other challenges that sometimes are beyond our control. You find government officials or people in authoritative structures taking advantage of the power that they have within those authoritative structures. The biggest example is police, when they themselves create situations where they can arrest African men. They can arrest African men without evidence, without proof, just to make sure that the case is sealed and done. They put African men in cells. They instill this trauma in African men. They don't realize how they are killing society, how they are killing the African men. Then, if we move from these authoritative structures and move to people who don't understand concepts such as feminism, where it originates, what it's actually about, and who actually originally is the person who's pushing that agenda. People don't even know, a lot of these people who are in these feminist groups, that it actually started or was started by female elites who wanted to be equal to their male counterparts. So we adopt a concept without actually cutting it down to the core and bare minimum of understanding. We just adopt, and then we move with concepts that don't benefit Africa. Us African men need to stand up and push against the tide, even against people who are our own skin color, just because they are the opposite gender. Of course, as African men, we also need to be accountable. We are also the guys when it comes to stats around violence, violent crime, um, violent crime, crime against women and children, and abuse against women and children. We are at the pinnacle of those stats when it comes to your heights where we risk our lives for survival, right? We are at the top of those stats. Unfortunately, we need to take accountability also. It's the trauma of the past. It's looking into the future and seeing that there are so many barriers that we need to come across and jump over and actually push against. But we need to then make the decisions that benefit the future of our children. So let's take accountability also for our negative actions. Because not everyone who is in that police cell, who is in that jail cell, who is in that prison, not everyone is innocent in there. Not everyone who's walking out here freely within this world is actually living in a positive way that benefits, that benefits the world. So it's important to actually look at the situation before you actually judge. It's important for us men in our accountability state to also be responsible for the actions that we take. It's important, it's pivotal for us men to speak up, to be frank about what we're going through. We're going through depression, we're going through anxiety, we're going through many challenges. We see a future that's just dim and dark, but we need to take accountability to some extent for the situation that is. It starts with acceptance. We need to admit where we are. Then we can start providing solutions for one another. As African men, we need to hold each other's hands in partnership and solidarity. The brotherhood that I'm part of, one of the key things that they like doing is sharing opportunities, sharing business opportunities, sharing employment posts and opportunities within the WhatsApp group of this particular Polo Brotherhood structure. Why? Because we want to see each of us actually moving forward and progressing. So we share even relationship challenges. We share work-life balance challenges. We share stresses. We share real challenges, intimate moments, and that thing is pivotal. It's one of the reasons why I joined it. But I'd like that type of thing, I reiterate, I'd like it to be multiplied. I'd like it to be pushed to the highest agenda. And I'd like it to start with you, my starters. Because as African men, I know that you can relate. You can definitely relate to what I'm talking to and what I'm talking about. So this was rather a touching subject, a subject that needs to be put out there. And I hope that just giving my views around it, because a lot of people are already doing that. A lot of people are giving their views. A lot of people have actually come from the bottom and gone to the greatest of spotlights, just highlighting the plight of men. I just needed to contextualize it and bring it further as to African men and the challenges that we are going through as African men, but also some of the things that we can do as African men, because it starts with you. I love and I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one, my starters. Cheers, guys.